Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We shall together chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verses 31 to 40.
Yajnanishtamata Yanti Brahma Sanatanam Nayam Lokosya Yajnasya Kutonya Kuru Sattama Evam Bahuvida Yajnaha Vitata Brahmano Mukhe Karmajan Vidditan Sarvan Evam Nyatva Vimokshase Shreyan Dravyamayat Yajnat Gnana Yajna Parantapa Sarvam Karma Ilam Partha Gnane Parisamapyate Tadvidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadeshanti Te Jnanam Jnaninas-tattvadarshinaha Yajñātvāna punarmoham Evam yasyasi pandava Yena bhutanyasheshena Drakshyasyatmanyato mayi Api chedasi pāpebhyaha sarvebhyaha pāpakrittamaha sarvam jnānaplavenaiva vrijinam santarishyasi yathaidhamsi samiddhognihi bhasmasāt kurute arjuna Jnanagnis sarvakarmani bhasmasāt kurute tatha nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitramīha vidyate tasvayam yoga samsiddhaha kālenātmani vindati Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatparas samyatendriyaha jnanam labhva param shantim achirenadhigacchati ajñascha shraddhadanascha samshayatma vinashyati Nayam lokosti na paraha na sukham samshayatmanaha.
In the Gita, we find in many places he uses the word yajna. Yajna means sacrifice. It is generally understood as fire worship, but how we should understand it is nothing but sacrifice. In the fire, they sacrifice the ahuti, offering it to a particular devata to fulfill their desires. It's a ritual. Now, this ritual has been followed mechanically by people for the fulfillment of their selfish desires. Vedanta does not say you should not fulfill your desires. All that Vedanta says is you fulfill the desires dharmically, but do not increase the desires. You understand? So what they say is, first learn the values of life, dharma, when you are a student, brahmacharya, then apply those values in life when you are a grahastha, in married life, and dharmically you earn your wealth and enjoy your life with that wealth that you earned. And that way what happens is you will rise above the desires. Your mind will attain a higher state, what they call as renunciation. In the sense, you start appreciating the higher values of life. Your mind thereafter is not merely indulging in the thoughts of the world, acquisition and enjoyment. It rises above that. That state is called what? After brahmacharya and grahastha, vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means forest dwelling. Forest dwelling means not literally going to the forest. Leading a simple life. Your needs have become less now. Your thoughts are on the higher. You understand? Needs have become less, thoughts are on the higher. Focusing more on the higher. Spending time more on that. And then you go to the even higher level, sannyas, which is completely jnana pradhana, 100% focusing only on moksha. You understand? That's how you have to rise. So how do you rise? Through yajna only you can rise. So in the third chapter, he says, Saha yajna prajashrishtva purovacha prajapatihi. The mankind from the beginning was created with this capacity to sacrifice. Understand? Human being has a capacity to act sacrificially. Human activities can be classified under three broad classifications called as selfish actions, unselfish actions and selfless actions. Majority are stuck in selfish. A little minority is there in unselfish. Very few people even understand selfless. Selfish means doing it for one's own sake only. Right? Unselfish is what? Doing for larger group. But in unselfish also, there is this kartrutva, I am doing. There is desire to serve. Once you come to selfless, there is no desire to serve or not to serve. It is not out of ego. There is no ego whatsoever, no kartrutva. You understand? And you do it selflessly. And it is not like certain actions are classified as selfish, certain actions are classified as unselfish. Any action can be done selfishly or unselfishly or selflessly. Even, for example, conducting this Bhagavad Gita class. I can do it purely to become famous, to gain name, fame, etc. You understand? To become popular. Then it will become selfish. Or I can do it because I have got this knowledge, I have benefited, I want every one of you to benefit. So I can do it with that kind of an ego to serve a larger group, much better than the previous one, but still, as if Gita is dependent on me. You understand? As if Gita is dependent on me. But still it's better than the previous one. The other one is, I've studied Gita, and nature is to talk, and it has helped me. And my Swadharma is to talk. There are people who wanted to listen. Simply go, talk and get out. Whoever comes, to the best of your ability. You understand? With no desires preceding the action, with no interest in the fruit of the action while doing the action. You understand? Such activities would be selfless. So, anything you do can be done in the spirit of yajna. Right? So, when they say sacrifice, 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 what are you supposed to sacrifice? You are supposed to sacrifice the selfish ego, the egocentric desires and egoistic attitude. You understand? That's all you are supposed to sacrifice. In fact, in the same third chapter, he says, Sattvic people eat the remnants of sacrifice. They do yajna. After yajna, whatever is left, from that they live. They do activities with arpana bhav. They dedicate it for a goal. The highest goal is self-realization. Relatively, they may have any limited goal. They sacrifice it for that. And whatever comes out of it, They live their life, accepting it as prasad, with arpana bhav and prasada bhav. So sattvic people live life, how he says? He says, remnants of sacrifice. Rajasic people, he says, they cook but eat sin. Meaning they do activities selfishly and they get agitation as a result, as a prasad. Because all the time they're thinking about themselves. So therefore, what comes out of that is only mental agitations. You understand? And then tamasic person, what he does, a tamasic person, he says, stena eva saha. The person is like a thief. What does a thief do? Others are working and earning, he goes and steals their money. He eats without producing. Understand? A tamasic person is one who eats without producing. You understand? So therefore, he will not be peaceful, obviously. He cannot have Aadhaar card and he'll be easily caught. You understand? Thief. So he cannot have a residential address. He'll be caught. Nah? So he'll have to keep on shifting. One day in this platform, one day there, one day here. He won't be peaceful. You understand? So therefore, the highest form of living is living, practicing yajna. So in this chapter 4, which comes after 3, which is entitled as Gnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga, the yoga of renunciation of action in wisdom. He says, clearly understand what the Vedas are explaining to you. Right? Now some people may have confusion about Vedas and Vedanta. Veda means knowledge. There are 4 Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharvana. Each of these Vedas have 4 parts. Right? Brahmana, Mantra, Aranyaka, Upanishad. Brahmana, Mantra, Aranyaka put together is called Veda Purva Bhag, which focuses more on rituals. Right? The last portion of Vedas contain philosophy called Upanishads. Since it forms the Ant Bhag of Vedas, it's called Vedanta, the philosophy. Every religion has rituals, philosophy. Ritualistic portion and philosophy. Similarly, in our culture also, we have the ritualistic portions and the philosophy. Through the ritualistic portions, you purify yourself and then come to philosophy, and through philosophy attain the absolute freedom. That's the idea. You understand? So therefore, in this 4th chapter, he says, you gain the knowledge, digest the knowledge, and practice that in the world, doing your actions supported by that knowledge. Thus you will rise above the worldly attachments. You understand? Thus you will rise above the worldly attachments. Yesterday also a lot of people were asking how to rise above attachments. You understand? You cannot detach from anything unless and until you get attached to the higher. You understand? You cannot. Your mind is today attached to something. You see, a child is attached to the playthings. You understand? And therefore, what does the mother do to keep the child occupied so that the mother can work in the kitchen? Otherwise, child will go to the mother and disturb the mother. So what does the mother do? Give little toys to the child will be busy. So the mother can cook. You understand? So you got to consciously direct the mind towards the higher. And then when the mind starts enjoying the higher, the lower automatically fall away. So you cannot detach from the lower unless and until you get attached to the higher. So that's why we say gain the knowledge, slowly get exposure towards the higher, then the lower attachments fall away. You understand? So what he said is, understand how an action is done, what is propelling the action, who is doing the action. Is it the individual doing the action? The individual is made up of body, mind and intellect, and driven by the Atma. Now is the Atma doing the action? Atma is a non-doer. Then who is doing the action? The combination. Per se, body, mind, intellect has no capacity to do any action because they are insentient. But the combination does the action. But where is it The capacity, all that is there in the body-mind intellect. Self is only enlivening it, so the nature manifests. Unnecessarily, you are attributing it to yourself. So that's why that shloka number 18 is very important. In shloka number 18 he said, you must see akarma in karma and see karma in akarma. Right? Very easily you can understand that shloka if you remember the picture on the battlefield where Sri Krishna and Arjuna are seated on the chariot, with Sri Krishna very busily running the chariot, controlling the horses, and also simultaneously giving pravachan, the lecture to Arjuna. Whereas Arjuna is sitting quiet, doing nothing. Whereas though Sri Krishna is doing so much action, inside he is very relaxed. Because he is very clear, he is a non-doer. So what is he? He is doing karma, remaining akarma. This is seeing akarma in karma. Whereas Arjuna is not doing anything. He is sitting quiet. But mentally he thinks he is the doer. I will not fight, he said. He is thinking, I am karta. You understand? But physically he is not doing anything. So therefore what Sri Krishna is trying to say, so this Arjuna is the one who is the best example for, in this context, for what? Seeing karma in akarma. Sitting, doing nothing, but incurring karma. So therefore, a person who is working in the world with desire is incurring karma. The person who is not working in the world but having lot of desires and ego, he is also incurring karma. Whereas a person who's got no kartrutva, no doership, whether he does action or does not do action, he incurs no karma. Therefore what Sri Krishna says is, Arjuna, you have this nature, you are an active person, so go about doing. It doesn't really matter what lifestyle you follow. In the 9th chapter also he says in the Gita, Yat karoshi yadashnasi ejjuhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. He says it doesn't matter what you do, how you do matters. Dedicate it to me, yat karoshi, whatever you, yadashnasi ejjuhoshi, whatever you consume, whatever you give, everything you dedicate it to me. You understand? If you attribute it to yourself, selfishly you do, you will incur vasanas. You do it in the spirit of service and sacrifice for self-development or for the sake of self, you will be evolving, reducing your vasanas. You understand? Therefore, all he is saying here is, you must gain this knowledge about Atma, and identifying with Atma, go about functioning. A sadhak identifies with Atma and functions. If he is in a lower level, his goal will be self-development. If he is evolved, then his goal will be self-realization. You understand? We say, for every human being, whether they understand or not, they are actually seeking self-realization only. You understand? Swamiji always explains this with that example. Everyone's goal is what? Happiness. Everyone's goal is what? Freedom. Nobody likes to be in bondage. Nobody likes to be told what to do, what not to do. Everybody likes to be free. And Vedanta says, your original nature is freedom. You are free. Your original nature is infinite happiness. So till you reach that infinite happiness, you will not rest content. You understand? So he gives the example of a coil spring. A coil spring's original height is 5 feet. You compress that coil spring to 1 foot. What happens? There will be pressure on your palm. You release it to 3. What happens? The pressure reduces, but still there. You release it to 5, no pressure. Why? Because it's reached its original height. Similarly, you are having constant pressure for pleasure, happiness. Why? Because your original nature is happiness. Till you reach that infinite happiness, you will not rest content. So what are you doing? You are only constantly searching for happiness. But the problem is, you do not have the residential address of happiness. You want to come to this class, but you do not know where it is being held. कोई location भी नहीं भेजा Google में. You understand? So what you are doing? Instead of, this is sector 31, no? Instead of coming to 31, you are trying to find it somewhere near Mohali, Zirakpur. You understand? This side of Chandigarh, Panchkula, everywhere. And then you say, where is this lecture going on here? You understand? First have the residential address. Vedanta says, you are happiness. Arthur Schopenhauer, Western philosopher, he says, it is difficult to find happiness within, but it is impossible to find it elsewhere. He says it is difficult to find happiness within, but it is impossible to find it elsewhere. Right? So what do? We go on searching here, there, everywhere, and then thak jata hai. Forget it, yaar, and then continue living. But Vedanta says, no, this is your original state is happiness. Till you reach that, there will be pressure for pleasure, happiness. You understand? So what you are doing? You are running for happiness, happiness, happiness. So everybody is seeking only one goal, happiness. To achieve that, you need to gain the knowledge of yourself. But today you are not ready for it. Understand? You need to develop, come to that level, then deserve. So first, though you say my ultimate goal is self-realization, first you should understand, I have to qualify for it. So first you can say my goal is self-development. You understand? Let me come to a stage where my senses, my mind starts listening to me. Today I am in a state where I want something to do, but my mind does something else. Like everybody takes the dog for a walk in the morning. They want to go in particular road, but dog takes them on a different route. And this dog is so heavy, so they also follow the dog. You understand? This is exactly what is happening to us. We want to go in one direction, mind is going in another direction. So first our goal should be what? Bring the body, mind, everything under our control. Self-development. Then once it is all there, that faculties can be directed towards the higher. That is self-realization. Ultimately. This is how we have to proceed. So he says, convert every activities into worship. You understand? So he said, you can work for the limited goal or you can work for the absolute goal. Right? First two yajnas. Deva yajna, then Brahma yajna. We discussed all this yesterday. I am only going through that. You can see that diagram also there, the figure there, it will clearly explain. Limited goal, absolute goal. Deva yajna, Brahma yajna. Then converting perceptions to action. Stimuli enters, you perceive. Stimuli is sacrificed, perception is kindled. That's called yajna of perception. Vishaya Grahana yajna. And then next is that perception you make sure it doesn't generate more thoughts and desires and vasanas. You control it. End perception with perception. So you sacrifice perception and kindle self-restraint. That is the next yajna called Dhamma yajna. Yajna of self-restraint. Fourth. Fifth is, now you've got self-restraint. Now you need to gain self-control. You understand? So the mind is now directed towards self-realization. So that is yajna of self-control. Atma samyama yajna or shama yajna. Fifth. Then dravya yajna. Now you with evolved person, what does he do? Does sacrifice at the physical level, or material level, physical level, emotional level, intellectual level, atma level. So dravya yajna is sacrificing material. You sacrifice your wealth, others' wealth increases. That is dravya yajna. Sacrifice of wealth, yajna of wealth. Then yajna of tapas, which is you sacrifice your physical efforts, others' well-being materially and physically increases. That is yajna of physical sacrifice, which is tapo yajna. Then comes yoga yajna, where you give your mind and intellect for the other's spiritual development. You understand? Your emotions and intellectual knowledge for others' spiritual evolution. That's called yoga yajna. Then comes swadhyaya gnana yajna. You sit down, dissolve your ego through study, reflection, doing tremendous discipline, Rigid vows, he says, meaning disciplined life you lead and then gain the knowledge and then rise above and realize the self. And when you realize the self, you have given yourself away, the ego. That's the greatest sacrifice you can do. So that is Swadhyaya Gnana Yajna. Then he talks about inhalation sacrifice, exhalation kindled. Exhalation sacrifice, inhalation kindled. So yajna of prana apana, yajna of purakam rechakam. Then pranayama yajna, control of breath. Through this regulation, what you kindle? You kindle inner strength. You understand? So regulating pranas, you kindle inner strength. Then regulate, the inner strength is sacrificed for external activities. That is ahara niyama yajna, the 12th yajna, the yajna of food control, regulation. Food means all intakes. You control all intakes and gain inner strength, and you sacrifice that inner strength for greater activities. Pranan, praneshu juvati, he says. This is what we saw yesterday. You understand? So, all activities, receipts, reaction and response can be converted into worship. And if you do that, you will evolve. Not only you will evolve, you will also benefit in the world, he says. Yes. Quickly, you want to take the question now or we'll take it in the end? Later? In the end, we'll take it up. I think two of you had a question. You also had a question, ma'am? In the end, we'll take it up. Yeah. Let's go to shloka number 31.
Yanti Brahma Sanatalam Nayam Lokosya Yajnasya Kutonya Kuru Sattama.
Eaters of nectar, yajna shishtamrita bhujaha. The remnants of sacrifice go to the eternal Brahman. So he's talking about people who do yajna. You understand? They eat the remnants of sacrifice. I already explained to you, which is said in the 3rd chapter also. This world is not for the non-sacrificer. How then the other, O Kuru Sattama? Arjuna belonged to Kuru clan. Arjuna is actually also Kaurava only. But to differentiate, we say Pandavas and Kauravas. Arjuna is also Kaurava, no? He also belonged to the same Kuru clan. But Duryodhana and all we say Kauravas, whereas Arjuna is called as Pandava. Arjuna, Yudhishthira, Bhima, etc. So therefore, O Kuru Sattama, you are the best of the Kuru clan, he says. Best in the sense, he had all the sanction to go and fight. But he's questioning, am I doing the right thing? Is he not the best? You understand? Yeah. What happens to you when you have to fight against somebody with lesser power? You show all full power you release on that fellow. Somebody who is much bigger than you keep quiet. You understand? Whereas Arjuna has now got the full sanction to go and fight and finish them off. And he's done it before, single-handedly. You understand? He knows how to do it. But still he's questioning whether it's the right thing to do or not. So he says, you are the best of the Kuru clan, Arjuna. Understand? And also psychologically, you need to motivate the person for the knowledge to go in. You understand? That also Arjuna is, Sri Krishna is doing to Arjuna. And it's fact also. It's not just like that he's saying. He says, eaters of the sacrifice, nectar, the remnants of sacrifice, go to the eternal Brahman. They exhaust the Vasanas and go to Brahman, meaning they realize the self, they become one with the self, they get to know who they are originally, they get enlightened. This world is not for the non-sacrificer, meaning in this world also, the people who do not do yajna won't be achieving things, or even if they achieve, they always feel they have not achieved anything, they'll be constantly agitated. In this world, how can they achieve something beyond, which is moksha? Not possible. This world itself is not guaranteed for them. How can they get the other one? Therefore, when you function in the spirit of yajna, what happens? Some people ask, when you see this in Indian movies or most of the movies like that, initially the good people suffer, and the villain enjoys like anything. Throughout the movie, our fellow is enjoying like anything. Last scene, Hero shoots the villain. Villain dies. So when I was young, somebody asked me, "Arey, isn't it better to be like villain? Whole life you enjoy. Suddenly before dying you just suffer and die. It's okay. Rather than this hero fellow, whole life is suffering, and at last he succeeds. What's the big deal? You understand? What it means is, so like that you think, oh, okay, after all this suffering, finally I'll achieve Brahman. But then what about my life here? Here also you will be happy. Only you will be happy. Please understand, no selfish person can be happy. No unselfish person will be unhappy. If you find yourself unhappy, it means you are thinking about yourself. In some form or the other, you are thinking about yourself. There is nobody taking care of me. Nobody thinks of me. Nobody this thing. Something or other you are thinking, therefore you are unhappy. Laws cannot change. How can it change? You understand? Therefore he says, this world is not for the non-sacrificer. How then for the other? O Kuru Sattama. He continues.
एवं बहुविधा यज्ञाः वितता ब्रह्मणो मुखे कर्मजान् विद्धितान् सर्वान् एवं ज्ञात्वा विमोक्ष्यसे.
Thus manifold sacrifices are spread out before Brahman. Know them all to be born of yajna. Thus knowing you shall be liberated. Now, there are a lot of interpretations for these kind of shlokas, but generally what you have to understand is, whatever these yajnas he mentioned, no, 12 yajnas, this list is not exhaustive. He only mentioned 12. Everything can be converted into worship. Sweeping, sleeping, you understand? Anything can be converted into worship. So the list is very, very big. It's a very few things he mentioned. So he says, these 12 yajnas that I enumerated are very few. But there are a lot more men. So thus manifold sacrifices are spread out before Brahman, before the truth, mentioned in the Vedas. Lots of activities. You understand? But know them all to be born of action. All these activities spring from the body, mind, intellect, not from Atma. If you understand that and do the action, thus knowing you shall be liberated. You understand? While doing the action, you should understand that the action comes from material components. Atma is only enlivening it. Once you understand that and do it, then you shall be liberated. You will become Brahman. You will attain self-realization. Continue.
श्रेयान् द्रव्यमयादेज्ञात् ज्ञानयज्ञः परन्तप सर्वं कर्माखिलं पार्थ ज्ञाने परिसमाप्यते.
The sacrifice of wisdom is superior to the sacrifice of wealth, O Parantapa, O Arjuna. All actions without exception, O Partha, culminate in wisdom. See, what he wants to say is, he is trying to say here that though there are all kinds of activities, and I also gave list 12 yajnas. For example, he takes and says dravya yajna, danam. Dravya yajna means what? You give your wealth as a sacrifice and kindle others' wealth. That is dravya yajna. So like that many yajnas are mentioned. Compared to all the yajnas, which is far superior, Swadhyaya Gnana Yajna, where the very ego is offered, where the ignorance is offered and knowledge is kindled. Understand? Though you understand it like that, please understand all actions without exception, O Partha, will culminate in wisdom. What he wants to say is, like Adi Shankara says, what will be the direct means for liberation? Knowledge. All other sadhana are indirect means for knowledge. Now, there is a text called Atma Bodha by Adi Shankaracharya. In that, he gives this shloka. Pakasya vanniva jnanam vina moksho na siddhyate Means what? Just like how fire is for cooking, knowledge is for moksha, he says. What is he saying? When you cook, you go to the shop, buy the vegetable, then you clean it, then you cut it, peel, marinate, you understand? Then cook it in the fire, then only you can eat. So the last stage is fire which cooks it for you to eat, otherwise it remains raw, right? So all other cutting, buying, cutting, cleaning, all that is preparation. Finally you put it in fire for eating, isn't it? Cook and eat. Similarly, all yajnas give you self-development. You understand? Then you will take up jnanam because you get qualified for it. With that jnanam you attain moksha. So therefore he doesn't want to say this is superior, all that is inferior, take this only. Please understand, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, all that will prepare you. But jnanam finally gives you moksha. And that jnanam, when you are ready, instantly it can give you moksha. So we have to prepare ourselves, get ourselves ready through all yajnas, whatever inspires you, and then come to knowledge. Through knowledge you liberate. So now how to gain that knowledge? That he explains in the next shloka.
तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्ष्यन्ति ते ज्ञानम् ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिनः.
This is a very important shloka. How to gain knowledge, from whom you should gain knowledge, how you will find that person. You understand? All that he explains. He says, Tad Viddhi, know that. Tad Viddhi means know that. Pranipatena, how? By prostration. Pranipatena, by prostration. Know that by prostration. Then Pariprashnena, by questioning. Then Sevaya, by service. Tadviddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Upadeksyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. The wise who have realized the truth, tattva darshinaha. The wise who have realized the truth, tattva darshinaha, means one who is established in the truth, will teach you the knowledge. So what he's saying is, first line is talking about students' preparation, qualifications. The body, mind, intellect needs to be qualified. So he says, know that. You can know that. How? By prostration, he says. What is this prostration? You fall flat at the feet of the guru or elders. When you do that, what is happening? Your head, heart and the entire body is in line with the other person's feet. Especially when you talk about guru. You understand? The guru is one who is established in knowledge, and with that knowledge he walks with his feet. So his feet represents what? Knowledge, the truth. So you are dedicated to that. You understand? There is humility, there is surrender. You understand? Without surrendering, there is no way you can gain the knowledge. So your mind should surrender. Understand? I don't know. So I am surrendering to you. Please teach me. You should have that craving, that interest first. You understand? Without that, Bhagavad Gita says, if the person doesn't ask, don't teach. And if the person doesn't ask properly, appropriately, don't teach. Understand? Only if they ask, you teach. And that also, if they don't ask appropriately, don't teach. You understand? Approach should be with that right attitude. Otherwise, don't teach. So therefore, he says, first you should have that devotion. Prostration indicates devotion, surrender. Understand? I want to learn. I don't know. Then, before going to pariprashnena, let's see sevaya. See, sevaya is also very important discipline. Guru doesn't want your service. No guru truly wants your service. Neither does not want. He is not dependent on your service, he or she. But serving the guru gives you an opportunity to be hanging around with the guru. You understand? Then what happens is, you get an opportunity to see the result of the knowledge with the guru. In the guru, rather, not with the guru, in the guru. You understand? So then, you develop more and more shraddha in the knowledge. You understand? You develop more and more shraddha in the knowledge. So service at the physical level, you must do to the guru. You must be ready to serve. That readiness to, willingness to serve should be there. Otherwise you lack gratitude, you will be selfish. And no selfish person lacking gratitude can gain knowledge. She can gain information, but not knowledge. Wisdom. You understand? Therefore, he says service. And then with this, what do you have to do? With your intellect, you question the Guru's statements to understand correctly. Not question the Guru. You understand? Therefore, he says pariprashnena. With appropriate attitude, you question the Guru. Please explain to me. Is it this way or that way? What is it? I am understanding like this. Is my understanding correct? Etc. etc. You understand? So therefore, mind should surrender, have devotion. Body should do service, which expresses the attitude of gratitude. And then intellect should question. Thus, if you are ready, then he says the Guru will come to you. Because there is a demand, there will be a supply. You understand? What kind of Guru will come to you? What kind of Guru will find you? He says, the wise who have realized the truth will teach you the knowledge. You understand? In other words, in some other scripture he says, Stotriyam Brahmanishtam. One who is well learned and one who is established in the knowledge will teach you. In other words, a person who is established in the knowledge alone can communicate the knowledge. It's not words. You understand? It's the message that actually cannot be conveyed through words. You understand? Therefore, a transformed Guru will come. And the Guru may come in many forms. Nowadays can come through Instagram also. You understand? Instagram, social media, pata nahi kya kya, how. Suddenly, you don't know. See, I know so many people, they said, sir, you know, how I got acquainted to Swamiji. Suddenly one day, I saw in the cupboard in my house, bookshelf, which is there in the, lounge only. It's been there since he was small. But suddenly one day I saw Vedanta treatise book. Very old copy. What? My grandfather was reading this book. I didn't know it was there. Right? So, suddenly one day I saw the book. Then I read it. Then I got interested. Then I got hooked onto it. Now how suddenly it happens? It's been there for a long time. You were so preoccupied. You were looking through the book. You understand? You were looking through the book because you were preoccupied. Now when the preoccupation subsided, now you looked at the book. You understand? So book will find you. Guru will find you in the form of book or in any form. Guru will come to you, but you be ready. Understand? You prepare yourselves. You will definitely find the Guru who is Brahma Nishta. And to that Guru, you only surrender the ego. You don't surrender your intellect. You understand? Nowadays what happens is, we blindly follow and then blame the other fellow, whoever it is. You understand? That's why Swamiji in the book Vedanta treatise, which I've been mentioning, he says, the role of Vedanta is to pull man out of his infatuation to personalities, celebrities, and educate him on eternities. They are all infatuated with personalities. So we have to rise above those personalities and go towards eternities, the truth. Be grateful to the Guru who taught you. But you should be interested in the knowledge, not the personality. But you have to be grateful. There is no doubt about that. You understand? But don't allow the gratitude to be a stumbling block. The gratitude should be a stepping stone for you to go towards the self. That's the best service you can give to your Guru. That's the best Guru Dakshina you can give to your Guru. You understand? Therefore, he says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshinaha. A tattva darshina will teach you, but you should have devotion and service mindedness, gratitude, attract the Guru to you, and in the close proximity with the Guru, you, through questioning, gain the knowledge and evolve. Continue.
Yajñātvāna punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutanyasheshena drakṣasyātmanyato mayi.
So now in verse number 35, 36 and 37, he's talking about the effects of acquiring the knowledge of the self. Karma, the Gnana Phalam. What is the fruit of this knowledge? You understand? So in 35, he's talking with reference to the intellect. He says, knowing which you shall not again get deluded, thus, O Pandava. We are all deluded. What is delusion? Wrong understanding. Isn't it? Mahakavi Kalidasa, before he became Kalidasa, Mahakavi, what was he doing? He was sitting on a branch of a tree and cutting that very same branch where it starts. Isn't it? So, he was deluded. So, we are all deluded. What? He already explained. No. Unmoving we are thinking as moving. Moving we are thinking as unmoving. We are taking ourselves to be this body, mind, intellect, not Atma. So, we are deluded. So, he says, knowing which you shall not again get deluded. Once you gain this knowledge, you will know what is moving, what is unmoving. You know what is your original nature, what is not you. You will be very clear on that, O Pandava, by which you will see all beings in the self and also in me. What does it mean? Once you realize the self, it's the same self that is pulsating in every being. So he says you will see all beings in the self, in you. And you will understand that same self is spread everywhere. Therefore, you will not be confused thereafter. You will have identity with every being and functioning. With that knowledge, your intellect will be clear. There won't be any more delusion. You will be clear about what is moving, what is unmoving. Who are you? Are you the moving or the unmoving? You are the... Why are you having so much doubt? If you have doubt, then I'll have to start from verse number 1 again. I have to stay back here for another 5 days. Are you the moving or the unmoving? Unmoving. Understand? Continue.
Api chedasi papebhyah sarvebhyah papakritamah sarvam jnanaplavenaiva vrijinam santarishyasi.
Even if you are the most sinful of all sinners, you shall verily cross over all sin by the raft of knowledge. He says, if, this, when he says sin means what? Agitation, mental agitation. You do an action, it comes back and hits you with agitation. That reaction is called sin. Understand? So therefore we say sin is not in action, it is in the reaction. Now, he says, even if you are the most sinful of all the sinners, you shall verily cross over all sin by the raft of knowledge. Now he's talking with reference to the mind. In Delusion was at the intellect level. In the mind, what is there? Agitation. You understand? Your agitations will become what? Completely zero. Meaning you will be free from agitation. You will not have agitations. And even if you are the most agitated fellow, you are the worst of all sinners. See, please understand, it really doesn't matter whether you have 1 kilogram of dry hay or 1 gunny bag of dry hay or 10 trillion gunny bags of dry hay. To burn it, you need only 1 matchstick. Isn't it? Just strike that matchstick and put it there. It will burn. So you don't worry whether you are the worst or the best, what little agitated, highly agitated, doesn't matter. Once you start gaining the knowledge, knowledge will take care of everything.
Agitation is a milder definition. You're saying sinful means path. It is, I think, more serious thing than the agitation.
That is coming in you as agitation. Yeah, see, pap gives you agitation. And not only that, even punya will give you agitation. Because it will give you more desires. All unfulfilled desires is agitation. What is agitation? Agitation is nothing but unfulfilled desires. You understand? So whether it is good desire or bad desire, as long as it remains unfulfilled, you will be agitated.
But sin could be fulfilled.
No, fulfilled means? Fulfilled, you will look for more, na? You will always remain unfulfilled. The moment you chase desires, you will always be agitated. How much ever you get, you won't be satisfied. You will want more and more and more and more, so you will constantly be agitated. Yes, ma'am.
That includes the forbidden actions also.
Obviously. Yeah. Forbidden though, for sure. There's no question. You understand?
Without desires, you will be lifeless. Isn't it?
No. Without desire, you will be lifeless. But with a desire, you will be mad. What Vedanta is saying is, sir, have you been coming all days or suddenly you came?
I came like first day.
And then now?
Yeah.
Okay, because you remind me of my college mate. When I studied, one fellow came on the first day of the college. He didn't come after that. Suddenly he came on the last day when the college was ending, final year. Like that. Anyway, no problem. See, problem is we have a particular time in which we have to go through these shlokas. Therefore, I can't go into too many details. So, please attend the classes and gain the thing. But understand one thing. We are in Vedanta, what we are saying is, in the very beginning itself I said, there is something called as desire, there is something called as love. You can do the action out of desire. You can do the action out of love. You understand? How to transform the selfish desires into universal love. That's what Vedanta talks about. When you give a lift to your personality, you will thereafter be acting out of love, acting out of happiness, not out of desire, not out of finding happiness, but out of happiness. You understand? So, if you want to grow to that level, then you have to study. Not just come the first day and last day, come every day. Meaning read every day. Doesn't matter you come to this lecture or not. Study, understand. He said no, question. That's how you grow. So, even if you are the worst sinner, meaning you've been gathering, see in Vedantic language, sin means pap and punya both. Good desires, pap and punya means what? Good desires and bad desires. You do selfish actions propelled by selfish desires, you will incur pap, more and more selfish desires. You do unselfish actions propelled by good desires, you will incur more and more good desires. And as long as you have desires, many desires will be unfulfilled. World is not going to cater to one individual's desires all the time. Farmer is sowing the seed, waiting for rain. BCCI has organized cricket match and they don't want rain. You have booked the ticket, especially most expensive ticket, 25,000 rupees. I don't know, 25, 30,000, whatever it is, for IPL in this Mohali cricket ground. And they are saying rain may come. So you are going, you are sitting inside the puja room, rain night, please, no rain. Now Bhagavan has two problems. Now one fellow is praying for rain. You understand? From Punjab, farmers. Other fellow is praying, no rain. Now whom to cater to? Bhagavan himself will be terrified. You understand? So therefore, the thing is, no one's individual desire is going to be fulfilled all the time. There will be most of the desires unfulfilled. So you will be constantly in agitation as long as you have desire. That is sin. You understand? Continue. So 1 minute before you go, he says, you shall verily cross over all sin. Means all vasanas. By what? By the raft of knowledge. Boat. From the shore of mortality to the shore of immortality. The boat of scriptures, by developing your intellect, will take you there. Continue.
यदैधांसि समिद्धोऽग्निः भस्मसात् कुरुतेऽर्जुन ज्ञानाग्निः सर्वकर्माणि भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा.
As blazing fire reduces fuel to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge reduce all actions to ashes. Now he is talking with reference to vasanas. You understand? See, in wood, there is both fuel and fire. Isn't it? When you churn the wood, in the friction, fire comes out. And what does the fire burn? The wood only. So, in wood, both the fuel and the fire are there. Similarly, in us, there is both ignorance and knowledge. So, with the help of the Guru, you have to churn your personality with the knowledge given by the Guru. When you churn, from andar se knowledge aayega, awareness aayega, and that what will it do? It will burn all your vasanas. That's what he's saying. As blazing fire reduces fuel to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge reduce all actions to ashes. Now, before it reduces the wood to ashes, it first chars the wood. It first chars the seed. You understand? Similarly, first when you are exposed to knowledge, even little bit knowledge, if you have understood this unnecessary extra value, highly inflated value you have for this world, will go, will reduce. You now have so much value for a particular car. You understand? Once you understand Vedanta, Swami Ramtita says, very beautifully he says, iron and gold is good for buying iron and gold. A car is nothing but a dabba with the tires and engine to transport you from one place to another with more facilities. If you pay more, they'll give you more luxury and all that. But at the end of the day, what is it? To take you from one place to another. That's it. Iron and gold is good for buying iron and gold. So once you gain this knowledge, even though you are not yet gone to that level of realization of burning all the vasanas, you will be detached and peaceful. You understand? Then finally, when you go deeper, the knowledge will completely burn your vasanas. Continue.
नहि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्दति.
So now from this verse 38 to 42, the last topic is Krishna's advice to gain that knowledge. How to gain that he explains. He says, verily there is no purifier here like knowledge. Verily there is no purifier here like knowledge. He who is perfected in yoga finds it in the self in time. So what he says is, what purifies you is only knowledge. You understand? But to gain that knowledge, you have to follow karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, and then go to meditation and then realize the self. Are you with me? So therefore you have to follow disciplines. You have to perfect yourself in yoga. Yoga does not mean only that asana. You understand? Like Patanjali says 8 steps, no. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Like that, karma, bhakti, gyan, all that you do and then come to meditation, and through meditation you realize the self. You follow your life with certain discipline and then gain the knowledge. Then you will find the self in time. In time means what? Now you have loan. Somebody has few crores loan. Somebody has few lakhs loan. Somebody has few thousands loan. Who will finish it fast? You can't say 1,000. Fellow who is having loan 1,000 may be sitting and eating, sleeping. You have to put in effort and do it consistently. You understand? Then in time you will close the loan. You understand? So similarly, you are now having the loan of lot of Vasanas. You have to pay them back. How? Through consistent following of spiritual practice, gaining knowledge, converting them into wisdom. You will get there. Don't be in a hurry. Like I said yesterday, if you are in a hurry, you cannot find hurry. Continue.
श्रद्धावान् लभते ज्ञानं तत्परः संयतेन्द्रियः ज्ञानं लब्ध्वा परां शान्तिम् अचिरेणाधिगच्छति.
He who has Shraddha, who is devoted, who has subdued the senses, attains knowledge. Having attained knowledge, he erelong gains supreme peace. So how to gain knowledge, he says, at 3 levels: intellectual, mental, physical. You understand? At all levels. First, he says, at the physical level, you have to subdue your senses. Indriya nigraham. You have to have control over your senses. This is what I said. What you tell, your senses should follow. Now what is happening is, what your senses say, you are following. You understand? First, at the physical level, you have to gain mastery over your senses. You should not be following your likes and dislikes. You should be directing your likes and dislikes. Then who is devoted? Who has devotion towards the higher. This is at the mental level. You understand? Then he says, who has Shraddha, faith. I explained to you in one of the classes before, Shraddha is not just faith. You understand? Shraddha means, if you say, I have Shraddha. Supposing you say, I believe in Krishna, and you are a great devotee of Sri Krishna, and somebody comes and says, Arey, Sri Krishna, you know, he is married 16,000 wives. Huh? Achha, really? 16,000 wives? You understand? And then he is the one, you know, he confused Arjuna and made him fight and kill so many people on the battle. Achha, ye bhi kiya? And slowly your faith on Krishna goes. You understand? So, this is not faith. Faith means you will hold on to it till you bring about transformation in you. So faith is, Shraddha is, it starts off as faith and it continues as conviction and you follow it consistently till you bring about transformation. You understand? So therefore, that is Shraddha. That is at the intellectual level, discipline. You hold on to it till you bring about transformation in you. Dhruva, young boy, wanted to realize the self, right? And he was meditating and Bhagavan Vishnu apparently appeared in front of him and he was meditating, his eyes were closed. And Bhagavan said, I have come in front of you, please open your eyes. He said, my mother told me you are inside me, please come inside. Till transformation, he is not going to leave. You understand? That is Shraddha. You understand? So therefore, he who has Shraddha at the intellect level, devotion at the mind level, surrendering the ego, and then has subdued the senses at the physical level, attains knowledge. Simply, without all this, you just come in the class, you gain the knowledge, and then you say, I'm going from all pillar to post to all the classes for so many years, kuch bhi nahi ho raha hai. Agar kuch hua, then we have to write another Bhagavad Gita. But कुछ नहीं होगा, श्री कृष्ण is saying, क्योंकि ये सब आपने नहीं किया. You understand? सेंस कंट्रोल नहीं है, श्रद्धा नहीं है, डिवोशन नहीं है, घर जाके आप you're not reading every day, you're not reflecting, you want to have somebody to come and spoon feed you. You understand? So then how will it be possible? Therefore he says, with all this you gain knowledge. Having attained knowledge, once you get that knowledge, erelong you gain supreme peace. Because all desires gone, then what is left? Only peace. As long as desires are there, peace is gone. And the desires are gone, instantly you get peace. Ere long means before long. It's a question of time, he says. Continue.
Ajnascha shraddhadanascha samshayatma vinashyati nayam lokosti na paraha na sukham samshayatmanaha.
The ignorant, devoid of Shraddha. So now, If you have Shraddha, you will get knowledge. If you don't have Shraddha, what happens? Meaning you are not following it consistently. You understand? He says, the ignorant, devoid of Shraddha, doubting self, constantly doubting. हैं? अरे उधर थोड़ा ज़्यादा लोग है, इधर इतना कम लोग है, तो then maybe we have to go there. You understand? Like that you will go from one pillar to post. So doubting self is ruined, he says. Ruined means, he says, there is neither this world, meaning you won't be happy here, you won't be successful, you won't be peaceful, nor the other, the moksha, nor happiness for the doubting self. You understand? You have to, see, it's the mind that brings about the doubts. The doubts are okay, but you have to develop your intellect and get rid of those doubts. Understand? Everything you constantly keep on doubting. Agar aisa hota, agar he is not realized, agar this interpretation is not correct, agar that interpretation, how do you know this is correct? How do you know that is? Going on doubting, like a doubting Thomas. You go nowhere. You understand? You got to hold on and then start thinking, reflecting, and then get rid of your doubts through development of the intellect. Then you will get the other and be happy here also. Otherwise, you will neither be happy here, nor will you achieve anything here. Definitely not the higher. Continue.
Yoga Sanyasta Karmanam Gnana Sanchinna Samshayam Atmavantam Na Karmani Nibadnanti Dhananjaya.
O Dhananjaya, O winner of wealth, Arjuna, you have won lot of wealth in the world, but the real wealth is what? This knowledge. You have to win that. Therefore, he is choosing this name Dhananjaya to address Arjuna. And he is saying, he who has renounced actions by yoga. Whenever he says yoga, 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 remember karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga. You understand? Through knowledge that is attained through the other practices, whose doubts are rent asunder by knowledge. These doubts will go only if you do what? Sadhana and gain knowledge. Only knowledge, no problem. No, it will not help. Only sadhana, what will you do without knowledge? You have to continue doing sadhana, follow a particular lifestyle, disciplined lifestyle as much as possible, and then knowledge. Then what happens? Your doubts will be cut as under. You will become poised in the self. You will become more and more peaceful. See, before the sun fully rises, in the morning around 5:30, the sun comes up. When the sun comes up, you can switch off your lights and move around. The sun has not fully come out, but still you can happily switch off the lights and move around. Similarly, even though you have not attained self-realization and all that, even little knowledge of Vedanta, you can happily move around in this world, you will become more and more peaceful. So along the way also you will be peaceful. That guarantee is there. Otherwise only in moksha, till then what will happen? You understand? Therefore he says, you will be poised in the self. Finally you will attain self. And when you attain self, what happens? You will become free from bondage. No actions can bind you. You understand? Actions do not bind him, bind that person who is liberated, O Dhananjaya. Now the concluding shloka.
Tasmadajnana sambhutam Kristam jnanasinatmanaha Chitvainam samshayam yogam Atishtotishtha Bharata.
O Bharata, O Arjuna, arise, he says. Swami Vivekananda also says, arise, awake and stop not till the goal is reached. Understand? Very, very inspiring quotation. Arise, awake and stop not till the goal is reached. It doesn't matter how many times you fall in between. Your focus should be in rising back. What to do? बहुत बार गिर गया, ये मेरा कुंडली में नहीं है. You understand? Forget about all that. Keep on rising. Keep on running, marching towards the goal. He says, Tasmat. See, Bhagavad Gita, he explains logically, he appeals to your heart, he appeals to your head, and finally gives the conclusion. You understand? So he says, tasmat, therefore, what you have to do? Cutting as under with the sword of knowledge, this ignorance born doubt of the self. He is comparing knowledge to the sword to the sword. What he is talking about is discrimination. You understand? You got to question and discriminate using your buddhi and subtle intellect, and then cut the ignorance born self, maintaining the sadhana. Ignorance born doubt of self. You must cut it with the discrimination, with viveka shakti. Understand? What is viveka? Nitya, anitya, viveka, vicharam, Adi Shankara says. So what is viveka? Constantly able to discriminate between what is permanent, what is eternal, what is ephemeral, what is impermanent, and identify with eternal, not with ephemeral. That is viveka. You understand? Therefore, cutting as under with the sword of knowledge, with the power of discrimination, what do you cut? This ignorance born doubt of the self. Dwelling in your heart. The Atma is dwelling in your heart means the core of your personality. You must cut these doubts and establish yourself in that self. Establishing in yoga, union with the self. Arise, O Bharata. Wake up, man. Yes. Wake up and gain this knowledge and realize the self. With that, like I said in the beginning of the class, with the Guru's grace and Bhagavan's grace, we are going to study 4th chapter. Through their grace, we have gone through the scripture. We don't know whether the scripture has gone through us, into us. You understand? So now, with all humility, we say, we have to study again and again till we gain that wisdom. So we tell ourselves we have just begun, not concluded. Right? So we'll have to chant the first shloka. Before that, let's chant this. Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Sambhade Gnana Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama Chaturto Dhyayaha. Om Tat Sat, that is real. That Supreme Self is real. And that is represented by Om, which means the pure consciousness that pervades waking, dream and deep sleep states of consciousness. This is explained in the Upanishads. Thus in the Upanishads Vedanta of the glorious Bhagavad Gita. What is this Bhagavad Gita? The summary of the Upanishads only. The gist of the Upanishads only. And it discusses what? The science of eternal. It discusses versus ephemeral. The scripture of yoga. It helps you to unite with the self. And what is the format in which it is given? Samvada. The dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna. And in that dialogue, 4th chapter is ended. Entitled, The Yoga of Renunciation of Action in Wisdom. That's what we just chanted. Understand? Though we have ended the study, we must understand that we only started. So with all humility, we all together chant shloka number 1 of chapter 4.
Sri Bhagavan Vasanas
Imam vivasvate yogam proktavanahamavyayam vivasvanmana ipraha manurikshvaka ibravit. So, let's conclude the class now. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.